Man Eater 38. The Epstein files are out and the public's finding out what people like myself have known for years. And I said it 10 years ago that everyone has a hand in it. Everyone is playing when it comes to this child trafficking ring. And so it disgusts me to see the amount of dancing I see going on, the people doing the twist and shout and all the goddamn dancing of the waltz when nobody has been prosecuted. Everybody celebrate, oh, they dumping the files and look at this one and look at this case and look at this picture and look at that. When the feds, the FBI, has had this information for 7 goddamn years. We know on July 7th, the July 6th, the Sabbath, on the day of the Sabbath, they went into Jeffrey Epstein's house in Manhattan on 2019 and took all of those videotapes, all of these documents. Oh, they had the little black book, all of that evidence, right? They had Epstein in prison. They combed through all of the evidence and nobody else got arrested at this point. Now you looking at all of these things today saying, look at this one. Look at what that email said. Look at this one here. This one is alleged to be doing this with children and all that. Nobody was arrested then. The FBI had the records for 7 years. So if somebody was going to go to jail, wouldn't they have been in jail by then? You think now, because they released the records for you to see which many of them are redacted, that now people are all of a sudden going to go to jail. Wouldn't they have went to jail right after they took Epstein? Yes. That has not been the repertoire of the FBI to put the information out and then go after the people. No, they go after people, secure the people, snatch them up, and then the press statements and everything starts to come out. And even then that is limited. Why would they dump all these millions of files if they are planning on arresting somebody? That would give somebody the opportunity to run, wouldn't it? All these high profile people that got all of this money, you don't think they got passports to different places that they can go to? They would be out. So that's not the protocol of the feds. So why are people acting like they gonna be held accountable? This shit gets me sick. I mentioned my story 10 years ago. I talked about what happened to me. I tried to bring a couple of trafficking victims on, and I thank God that they did not come on here. Because people just want to sensationalize stories for the clicks and views. They really don't care. People really don't care. Because when all of the hype is over with, these victims got to go on about their lives. They got to go to the library with their kids. They got to go to daycare, take their kids to school and all of this stuff. And it's great for the interviews and the clicks and all of that. But who's protecting them after this stuff is over with? And these people don't go to jail. All these people commentating, all these people showing pictures, all these people mentioning this name and that name. What happens when these people don't go to jail to those people? What happened to the innocent journalist who was just really trying to put the story out, not understanding the way this thing works? This is why you gotta stop. We have to stop praising the government, acting like the government is going to do everything for us. This is why I'm an individual. I'm for self. Because I realized many, many years ago that the government ain't going to do nothing. I'm for the Constitution, making sure that that's implied or whatever. And that's about it. And making sure our foreign safety is taken care of. Other than that, like, things are going to go down the way they're going to go down. Stop thinking that, oh, people are going to do the right thing and all of this stuff. They're not. They're going to do what's best. And that's why they held on to those files so that they too could do what Epstein is doing and use people to for their messages and their agendas. That's what was going to happen. So now the files are out, and a lot of people's feelings are going to be hurt. And I don't really care, because at the end of the day, if people really want to do something, you will start locally. You will start right in the communities that you live in, the neighborhood over you, because a lot of us live amongst thousands of pedophiles every day like it's a normal thing. You got people working in schools that shouldn't be working there. That's where our attention needs to be focused on. Because in all actuality, if you want to stop feeding the beast, you have to attack their food supply. And it comes from the bottom. They're not getting famous kids. They're getting kids of poor families. People from different countries and shit like that. People here who don't have parents that have the wherewithal to really pay attention to what's going on in the people around their kids. So this is who they preying on. So attack things from a local perspective. Stop thinking you're going to grab these celebrities and, oh, I can't wait for this one to go down. Fuck them. Whoever did something, they're going to get theirs. God is going to punish everybody. Nobody is above God. God is the Lord, and nobody's above him, and he's going to punish them. You may not have the power to do that, but you do have the power to straighten out what's going on in your own families and what's going on in your local community. And I'm Man Eater 38, and we're going to move on to Candance. Before we get into Miss Candance Owens here, let me just also say this too about the Epstein. In 2018, Hillary Clinton's foundation, her and Bill's foundation, was found to have committed wrongdoing as it relates to child trafficking. Where's Hillary Clinton and her husband? Thank you. I rest my case. Moving on to Candace Owens. Candy Cane. Come on out here, Candy Cane. Come on, Candy. Now, you accuse people of taking money because they expressed their dissent with you going after Miss Kirk, right? And I was expecting a colossal stack of bullshit to come from you, but you made this real easy for me. So let me just finish up real strong right here, okay? Because this is my point. By your own sworn digital statement here on YouTube, you, R.I.P. Charlie Kirk, said that Charlie was murdered due to what I call as a paralegal a legal dispute. Okay? It's called a fundamental breach because you said, RIP Charlie Kirk said, they are going to kill me. Okay? And you said that he said that somebody was going to kill him because he no longer wanted to participate or that there was something that he wasn't going to do. And because of that action, somebody wanted to kill him. Now, nobody but you, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, and whoever the persons or people were in that conversation on the Zoom call know who are the people who quote unquote wanted to kill him, right? But you still fail at connecting Erica Kirk to his death. And that was my whole point, right? Because to a rational woman who understands survival, your husband was murdered broad daylight in front of thousands of people, even your own children included. So having access to hug the president, that's not a bad look, right? And I'm pretty sure that several of the women who've lost their husbands in that manner, public execution, would have wished they had that access to hug on the president, right? Because that's survival. Like if something like that happened to you, happened to your husband rather, you would feel like you're in the open. Like they killed this man broad daylight in front of thousands of people. So if they could do that to you and here you are his wife, what power do you have? You're like a target. You're walking around and she wants to continue the Turning Point USA. So she's trying to keep that going. So she's like a target. Okay, she's an open target. So I'm hugging the president, the vice president, the chief of war, the press people. I want to hug everybody because I want these killers to know that I'm connected in with these people. That will give me some sense of security. Let me know that hey, I got friends in government that maybe they'll look out for me. So you fail when you're trying to connect. It doesn't make sense, that she would do that. And most women, any woman would want that privilege. And whether you like the Kirks or not, I feel like any American woman should have that protection. If your husband is publicly executed, you should have the protection of the government to keep you safe at least for a little while, so that you're not a target, especially if you want to continue their work. Okay? So, it just Candy, you didn't make no sense, Candy Cane, girl. You could get married, stuff, and huff and puff, do whatever you want. You'll continue on and on with your message or whatever, and that's perfectly fine. I just wanted to make my point, but nobody has taken any money. Okay, nobody is half in and out of talking about pedophilia or anything like that. You failed on all your points. You have not connected Erica Kirk in any kind of way, and I'm here to tell you that whether you like it or not. And continue on. Continue to investigate. Hopefully, you get the information you need. But it's a shame that you lead your audience in that manner to have them thinking that this woman has something to do with her husband's death. I just feel like that's totally disgraceful. But that's the end of that. Bye, Candy Cane. So moving along to the best but not the least, FBA, right? FBA ADOS, indigenous. Mind you, I never said that slavery didn't take place. I said I'm indigenous. I have indigenous ancestry. I am not African. If I was, I would not be ashamed of that. I'm not African. And I'm stating that again. Okay? And slavery did take place because I never said that shit. Okay, now moving right along. Yes, FBA, we are connected through lineage, true indeed, but we are not a monolith. And some of us understand that the Democrats were never going to do anything to correct the years of damage that their ancestors afflicted upon us. And we're not going to paint ourselves into a delusional room thinking that we are going to bark these people down and force them into doing anything to us, right? After all those years that their ancestors spent robbing and stealing, and somehow the old honky doctrine, just got washed away from their memory. When in fact, these crackers have front runners today, like the Asians, right? Think about it. The Asians will come into a community, they will buy a store, and whoever lives in that community will work in the store. But the Asians own that shit, don't they? Okay, and that's one for Google. Let's see if the Asians want to advertise on that. Okay, check that out and let's see. But as for FBA and ADOS, we have to be sharks these days. We can't not live like we are the loving people and we just gonna teach somebody a lesson and they gonna come along. It's not enough to tell these people they're tethers and all of that. And if you get some act right, you could come back over here. You have to play the game of annihilation. When the enemy presents themselves to you, you have to destroy and annihilate that enemy. Okay? And that goes for the tethers and that goes for the Democrats. Tethers are easily annihilatable at this point because all you gotta do is come out in the midterms, right? In the midterms, what you do is you come out and you vote Republican during the midterms, and you let the Republicans know, I want America First policies as it relates to immigration right now. I want you on that. I want you letting people in and doing what they need to do. Okay? That's how you annihilate the tethers. That's how you get their numbers down. And so this way, Trump is working on a plan to bring people in who will assimilate to the culture, American culture, that is, right? And will give us more of what we want. Like the old immigrants that these people keep trying to compare themselves to when there's no comparison, right? That's not what we want. We want better ones. But at the end of the day, you have to be a shark. All of this straddling the fence shit, oh, that's not us, and we didn't do. No, that was some of us, and I'm proud to say I voted for Donald Trump. Yes, I did all three times. I'm proud because I'm a shark, and I understand that these people are not playing with us. The Democrats don't care about us. They were the ones lynching us. They were the ones making sure that we stayed into slavery. They were the ones who didn't want you to vote. Now all of a sudden they talking about voter rights. They sitting up here talking about black people can't afford no voter ID. Still using that same weak ass terminology to disrespect us and scapegoat on us, talking about we can't afford to get an ID, but we could afford to go on vacations, buy PlayStations, and any other luxury we want. We could afford to do that, but all of a sudden we can't afford to get a goddamn ID. That is so disrespectful. And talking about Jim Crow 2.0, it's time to teach these people a lesson. And the only way you teach them a lesson is by voting them out. You have to annihilate the enemy. You can't sit up here straddling the fence playing with them. Now, ADOS, the cavalry needs to come on out. And we need a stronger message from the ADOS people because one thing I agree with Yvette on full-heartedly, and that's that local politics is important. It don't make no damn sense to sit your ass down during a local election because that affects you personally. Okay? And this is what we finding out here in New York. I thought people was going to have sense and say, you know what? Let's vote for the guardian angel. It makes sense. We damn sure don't want Cuomo. We done been through Cuomo. We seen what he did in 2019, or I mean, what he did under COVID. We lived under that. Okay, and we did not like that. All of the terrible things that happened under him. So no, I knew Cuomo wasn't going to win. It made sense for people to vote for Sliwa, somebody who was going to let the America First policies come through. You don't vote on according to the personalities and people's styles. You vote on what they could do for you. And he was going to further the agenda. That's part of the strategy. So you got to know when to vote for somebody because they're going to get something done that you want to get done. And if we want the deportation to continue, you can't allow these Democrats to win when the midterms come. If you allow them to win, you're going to have more people protesting. You're going to have more obstruction to what you said you want to see happen. So we have to make sense. The national election is one thing you want to vote the council because you have millions and millions and millions of people voting all across the country. Okay? So that's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to sit out. But when it comes to your local politicians, look at what's going on in Chicago. Look at what Brandon Johnson has done. Look at what Ma'am Danny is about to do to us. You understand? So this is why you don't sit the couch. You have to come out and vote Republican just to say, you know what? This is a defense to what this dude is doing. If I don't want to pay all these high ass taxes and all of this stuff, I need to get a Republican there and I need to talk to them before they get in it. Let them know this is what's affecting me and I expect you to come in there and do something different. I expect these illegals to get the hell out of this state and I expect you to allow the police to assist them in doing so. We gotta play this game right. It's no sitting down on the side and this one and we gonna keep, because a lot of y'all really believe that the Democrats is gonna come through with reparations and they are not. They will never ever do anything for you. That's what the whole joke was about when Lyndon Baines Johnson said we're gonna have these N-words voting for us for the next 200 years. Okay, they were never gonna do anything for us. They never been doing anything for us. Malcolm X told you after 4 goddamn years he was tired of these liberal ass crackers and he was moving on. And anybody black that was sitting over there, you was a traitor to your goddamn race. And that truth is still holding to today. You're a traitor. You don't care about your own people. You say you do, but if you want to encourage and support Democrats, you don't care about your people because they did all they could for white people. Before all these immigrants got here, it was give white people everything. Give them this, give them that, give them affirmative action. Anything that they made up for black people or would benefit the black community, they gave it all to white people. The fucking Democrats. You live in the most black people live in a fucking Democrat state and will be sitting down talking about it's the Republicans. The Republicans is the racist one. The Republicans was the anti-slavery party. They were against slavery, right? And here's the thing right here that black people, we like to hang our hats on. Well, the Republicans, they double cross us. Here's what they did. They were gonna be gone off the face of the planet. And I'm not saying it's right. How can I say it's right when I myself am an FBA indigenous woman who comes from chattel slavery? My ancestry comes from that. So why the hell would I sit up here and say they were right? I'm not saying that. I'm saying I understand the strategy that they used. They had to give up that power and let the Klan come in on us in order for them to stick around. Because during that election, that would have been a wrap for the Republicans. We may not have seen no Republicans ever again in life had they not made that decision. Now, do I agree with the decision to let the Klan come in on our people? Of course I do. I think it was a disgusting, weak decision. But that's what they did to survive, right? Now, look at the Democratic Party. All the shit they did, all of the lynchings and all of the stuff you talk about came from the Democratic Party. So if we could forgive the Democrat, clearly we've forgiven them because we were in that party just voting Democrat every 4 years, Democrat, Democrat, Democrat. So we've forgiven the Democrats. Why can't you say, we've forgiven them, let's try to forgive the Republicans and let's try to work with the ones that'll work with us? Why is it this obstruction to everything Republicans is just terrible, when the history has been all on the fucking Democrats doing all the fucked up shit to us? Today, look at them. They were the ones who did open borders. Okay? Not the Republican Party. Republicans, yes, they'll let illegals come in or whatever. But you think they will let them overrun the country? You think you would have had the Trinidad Arago going around doing what they doing, and all these Africans and all these other people doing the things they were doing if Trump had won? No. And then on top of that, Trump was trying to give us the platinum plan. Nobody all along the plan because y'all didn't understand how to read the platinum plan. Y'all didn't understand how that was going to benefit our community. So you said no, voted for Joe Biden, and he opened up the borders. Once again, the Democrats fucking us up. There is no getting by with them. You either have to get rid of them. Either you want to play the game and be a shark and go and get what you want, take what you want, destroy and annihilate whoever gets in your way, or you need to sit down and don't play the game. A man